Today, I'm going to take you through some example templates that we've built that plugs into Sage 300. This is built using Qlik. Qlik is a powerful business intelligence platform, and I'm going to take you through a few examples of what is possible. So the data challenge, despite significant investments in data and analytics, there's still organizations that only get limited results. Only 44% of organizations have enough data available for making decisions. Only 29% of executives achieve transformational business outcomes, and 35% of executives see poor data literacy as an important roadblock. So this creates opportunity. So yet the few who have done it right see significant financial and operational benefits. Statistics show us that 76% of organizations that have implemented a proper business intelligence strategy see operational efficiency improvement. 75% of them say revenue has increased, and 74% of them say the profit increased. So this is some really powerful statistics here. And what I'm going to show you is next is the Qlik data analytics platform. So Qlik basically takes you on the journey from start to finish. So all the way on the left here, we'll see that we'll start with freeing the data. So this first section is basically where we extract the raw data from an ERP system or from any data source that contains any of your data. And this could be, web statistics. It could be, a CRM system, HR system, payroll system, anything. In this specific scenario, we are focusing on Sage 300. So the first step is freeing that data and bringing that into the Qlik platform. Then we do what we call find it, and this is basically creating your reporting ready environment, and this is cataloging your data. And this could mean grouping together sales documents or sales transactions, customer master data or product master data, cataloging this data sources, and then allowing the users to dive in and create basically applications or analytics on top of those data sets. And the third section here is understanding, and I'll spend a little bit more time on this and actually doing the demonstration of what we have built and what is available out of the box. And I'll jump straight into that for the next section of our demonstration. So this is the Qlik platform. So as you can see, this is a cloud-based platform. You'll see I've got multiple applications here. This is my home page, and there's different views and customization settings that you can apply to your home page. You can have KPIs that you're monitoring throughout your applications, etc. But what we'll do now is just jump straight into the Sage demonstration application. All right. Okay, so this is basically the application that we've built. So this is available out of the box. Sorry, just give me 1 second. I seem to have stuffed up my screens. Just give me 1 second. Okay, so this is our demonstration application. This is a template. This is available out of the box. We've got the ability now to deploy this within any environment, any production environment within 5 working days. So I'm going to take you through what we've built, and we'll start on the left-hand side here with the dashboard. So you'll see there's quite a number of different sheets. We call these sheets that's available within this application, and it uses data extracted from Sage. So if you have a look at this dashboard here, this is obviously all interactive, and I'll show you as we move along. This is a high-level overview of where I am year to date or month to date. So the idea behind this is not necessarily to have the user to make too many selections, but basically having this one page where you can consume all of the information. So on the top left, you'll see here that we've got the year-to-date sales versus this year versus last year. And we've got the color coding there to show me that red with a down arrow saying that I am behind with last year's sales. Same on the gross profit side. But as you can see, sales this month versus budget, you can see that it's green and it's got an up arrow, meaning I am ahead of my budget. So these measures can obviously be customized, whether you want to view them year to date, month to date, actuals versus budgets or forecasts, etc. These tables here are all interactive. So if I want to select and have a look at 2022, you'll see that it immediately expands into those specific months that's available for the year of 2022. As you can see as well, all of my selections will be recorded here at the top. So as soon as I select something, they get recorded here at the top. If I look at the next chart on the right hand side here is the sales by item group. I can see that components makes up the largest portion, which is 6.8 million. If I only want to look at components and have the rest of my dashboard update accordingly, I can do that. So now you can see I've got the year 22 selected, the item group components, and everything else has changed according to those selections. If I want to clear my selections or change it, I can either click in this individual selection that I've made and add additional options. Alternatively, I can just click the clear all selections and it drops everything that I've selected. So now I can start again. At the bottom left here, we've got an example of sales against budget. This budget was, it's an example budget, obviously, but it's linked via an Excel spreadsheet that sits in a SharePoint environment. So it's a very straightforward sales budget by sales employee. I can also flick this to customer group. So all of my salespeople are allocated against a specific customer, and obviously these customers in turn belong to a specific customer group. So I can also view the sales versus budget against the customer group. So I've got this quick switch available to immediately flick between the two options. I can also flick between the actual measures being used. So if I want to look at margin instead of revenue values, I can flick those as well. And then on the right and bottom side, we've got what we call a Sankey chart. Just to give you an example, this is, you know, showing if I look at Brad Thompson over here, I can see that he's selling most of his products through the components section, and most of the components section goes and is sold in Paris. But I can make selections over here. So if I want to look at only Brad Thompson, I can see that components is the biggest one, and then the second one is Rainbow Printers. So just to give you an idea of some of the visualizations that's available. And then finally on the dashboard, we've got some high-level KPIs here showing you the open document counts. So open delivery notes, there's 41 open, $61 in value, just an example. Open sales orders, so you know why has these deliveries not been invoiced, why have the sales orders not been delivered yet, for example. Open quotes, open POs, etc. I also have the ability to click on this and go straight to that open document sheet, which will show me the detail behind this. I'm not going to do that now. I'm going to show you that sheet in a second, where we'll go into more detail. The second one we've got here is product sales analysis. So if I select that, you'll see that this dashboard is now more driven around product. I've got these filter boxes here at the top where I can make different selections. So again, as I make my selections, all of those will be recorded here at the top. And as you'll see, you'll notice everything, as soon as I make a selection, everything on the dashboard immediately updates. All right. So on the left-hand side here, I've got sales by item group. So this will show me overall sales by item group. If I want to look at a specific year and month, I can select that from here. So let's say 2022, and I'll go with June. So I can have a look and see how I've been sold. I've selected specific item groups, but if I remove that selection, I can see that both accessories and items have been sold. These are the different brands that has been sold. And here I can see the quantity breakdown by sales rep. And in this case, it was only Phil Murray that sold anything. At the bottom here, we've got a very familiar layout of product sales. So this is product sales this year versus last year. In this specific scenario, we're comparing 2022 June. So the table below will be 2022 June sales versus 2021 June sales, with the variance and the variance percentages. And we also have the volume or the quantity that has been sold and a list of all the products. We can also add customers in there. So if you wanted to have a look at customer by product or vice versa. If I clear my selections here again, you'll see here at the bottom right-hand corner, we've got the sales versus gross profit percentage. So this is what we call a scatter chart. And this basically shows you in terms of revenue value and gross profit percentage value where you are in the different product categories. As you can see, a non-stock item, for example, sits at 100% because there's just no cost of sales against that. Another few KPIs here, the stock holding for my organization, 31 million, 92 products that I've got in my system, and the stock days, you'll notice that calculation is a bit skew, but it's just demonstration data to show you what sort of KPIs you can place. We'll jump over to the next sheet, which would be customer sales analysis. So very similar to the product sales analysis, now we are focusing more on the customer side. Again, you've got all your selection boxes, which can be customized throughout the application. It doesn't have to be the same. You also have smart search functionality. So if you know exactly what you are looking for, if you take this example at the bottom, I've got Parameter Technology, which is one of my customers. If I want to look at them specifically without having to make a selection here, I can search for them within my application, and Qlik will come up with a few suggestions of where the word parameter is being used throughout the entire data set. It will also give me a suggestion, so you can see it's trying to complete the word for me, and it's saying that there's a customer with the word parameter in, and I can make that selection straight from there. Right, so now I'm looking at the specific customer. As you can see, our map has changed now to give me their exact location on the map. So as you can see, it goes all the way down to street level. I can zoom in and out just by using the mouse wheel and scrolling. I'll remove that selection just to give you an overview of the dashboard itself. So here we've got a snapshot of the customer age analysis. So this is at a specific point in time. So when this data set gets refreshed, we specify either today's date or the month end date. This is just to give you a very rough idea of where you are on the aging. It's not as sophisticated as the aging that you will be able to run within your ERP system, but it does give you a very good handle on where you are at a specific point in time. At the bottom here, we've got an interactive map where it plots the values, the sales values for the different customers across the globe. So just to give you an idea of what you can do there, there's lots of options available on mapping as well in terms of like heat maps, and you can apply different layers and different bubble sizes and different coloring according to the dimensions and measures applied to a specific map. Here we've got customer balances versus credit limits. So you can quickly identify against all of your customers where they are in terms of credit limit. The red bar being the credit limit. So you'll see that these guys are all over credit limit. And that can obviously be a red flag in some instances. The second one here, again, just to give you some examples, this is sales by customer, very basic, sales by each customer, but the coloring here has been done by gross profit percentage. So the darker the color, the higher the gross profit percentage. As you can see, the Earthshaker Corporation sitting on 59%. And if I look at the retail sales, there's 29%. All right, then the next one, sales by country or city. So this is a tree map. Within most of the objects inside Qlik, you can make selections. So if I want to look at Australia over there, I can just hit that selection box or just click on it. And now you can see it immediately drills down into the individual cities within my data set. If I've got suburb information below that, I can select Sydney, for example, and it should take me to the suburb information if I've got that level of detail within my data set. On the right-hand side here, again, just some high-level KPIs, the total outstanding book value, number of customers, number of invoices, total discount, and number of credit notes. And you'll see that these will change as well based on the selections I've made. So if I exclude that, now I'm looking at my entire organization again, and you'll see all of those values have changed as well. Again, very familiar one here at the bottom, customer sales details. So just a list of customers this year versus last year. Again, these are dynamic. So if I want to go and have a look at 2009, you'll see that this changes to 2009 and then measured against 2008, which is the year before. And the same with the month. If I apply a specific month, it will compare both that year and month against the previous year. And then I've got sales, gross profit, and GP percentage information in here. I've got the ability to expand this to a full screen. And if I wanted to drop this into Excel, I can just right click and download into Excel as well. All right, the next one that we've got is sales rep performance. So this one might look a little bit different, but it's, I guess, a little bit familiar as well in terms of sales employee, and specifically this table below where we've got sales against budget by month. So we've got the whole year across from start to finish. And again, this can be by fiscal year. So if you're running a June or July to June fiscal calendar, this can be from July to June as well. And we've got the ability to export this into Excel and maintaining this exact format. Then we've got some visualizations at the top. So sales versus budget, the diamonds representing the budget value and the actuals in the blue bars. So you can see where each individual sits against budget. Sales performance by rep. So this one's showing you the revenue by product group. So you can see Brad Thompson is in overall ahead, where components is the biggest portion of his sales. But if you compare someone like James Chan, where his biggest contributor is Rainbow Printers. But you also again have the ability to make that individual selection and click on that. You'll notice that now that I've selected the salesperson, the table below has drilled down into the actual customers underneath the salesperson as well. And then lastly, we've got the sales versus budget pivot table, and I'll just pop that into a fuller screen so you can see you've got the ability to add as many dimensions in here as you want. So in this specific scenario, we've got salesperson, customer, and product. But if I want to look at the products first, I can just flick it over, or again, salesperson or customer first, etc. I can look at the customers, and I can even drag the salesperson to that side. I can move it in front so you can see that there's the different salespeople, and then underneath you've got your sales budget, gross profit, and variance. So this is very interactive, and like I mentioned, you can add as many in here as you want. Okay, the next one we've got is stock management. So this is just a very high level overview of the stock situation in your organization. You'll see that I've got in the top left just a list of all of my products and the total on hand. So this is not by warehouse, but the total on hand. So if I want to look at a specific product, well, that's not a good example. Let's find one where we've got in multiple warehouses. So let's take this product. Also not a good example. I don't have any stock on that one. Let's take that one. So you'll see if I look at this specific product, I've got 1,155th in total on hand, minimum levels, maximum levels, etc. But here at the bottom, I've got a breakdown by warehouse and the individual costs for those warehouses, and then giving me the stock value that I've got on hand. If I clear my selections again, you'll see there's the stock value over there. This one here in the top right hand corner, I can see how many products I haven't sold in the last 120 days, for example. So I can just drag this to anywhere I want to see which products are slow movers, etc. And here's another snapshot of the aging we used for the customer side. This one is just on the product. And this one, you've got the ability to switch between value and quantity. And then finally, the stock value by warehouse, so just a bar chart with the individual warehouses and the stock value for each of them. You've got the ability to drill down into them as well. So if I just select general warehouse there, you'll see these are all the components within there. And if I go and click on PCs, that'll give me the individual products that is in that warehouse and the value. See, I've got some negative stock in there. All right, the next one, we go into credit notes and returns. So this is basically looking at credit notes and products being returned within the system. So as you can see, I've got a few different reasons that's available here. So if I want to look at the defective reason, it'll give me all of the customers that returned because of that specific reason. I can, if I just clear, I can look at the top 10 customers returning product, for example. At the bottom here, I've got just a table with the document number, the return reason, and the quantity and the value of all of those return documents. And this top right hand side, number of credit notes, number of goods returns, the return value, and the quantity return. And this one you've seen before, so this is just a tree map again, but the quantity returned by item group and item name. So if I click on items, you'll see that it drills down into the individual products. Okay. Oh, we've got one more here at the bottom left. So the number of credits and returns by salesperson. So in this specific case, it can be by salesperson as well, or by the person capturing the invoice, or whatever information is available. The next one we've got is supplier spend analysis. So this is a very, compared to the rest of the application, this is a very small overview of supplier spend. So in this specific scenario, we'll look at open purchase orders or overdue purchase orders. And you can see the supplier name and the value. And in this one, we've got the spend by product group or item group, spend by supplier, and we've got a supplier age analysis as well. So in this case, like it's got 0 to 30 and 120 days. And then we've got the list of the products or the supplier spend details. So this year versus last year with variances. very similar to the customer one. We've got the purchases by country or city, and then the high-level KPIs showing the individual KPIs there for the purchasing side. The next one is the open document. So this is the one I spoke about when we had a look at the dashboard. So in this one, you've got the ability to jump straight from the dashboard. So let me just demonstrate that. So if I want to look at the open deliveries, it takes me straight to the open deliveries sheet, which is the open document sheet. So this one setting has been set to open in a new tab. You don't have to do that. We can change that setting. But basically, you've got the ability now to say, if I want to look at the delivery notes, I can select them from here. It gives me the open document count, which is 41. So there's 41 open documents, the open document value, so 101,000, and the open document open quantity. So in a delivery note, it could be a partial delivery, and that quantity could be different to the original delivery quantity. So we're using open quantities. And you've got a list of the documents, so the actual document number in the system, the date that it was posted, the customer, the product, the quantity, and the value. And again, as with all the other sheets, you've got the filter boxes here at the top if you wanted to select anything, filter. Right, then the last, second last one here we've got is master data management. Master data management is basically just an overview of the master data within your environment. So we broke it down customer master. So you've got your product or your customer code, customer name, the group, whether it's active or inactive, if there's any reason provided against it, what the credit limit is, what the current customer balance is. So it just gives you a good overview to see if there's any incomplete information. So sometimes when a new customer gets created, the user forgets to capture the product or the customer group, or forgets to capture the credit limit, just as an example. And this overview screen obviously allows you to quickly filter out those issues. We've got the same for supplier master, the item master, and then obviously all of the warehouses in your environment. All right, then the last one we've got is transaction details. So this transaction details is literally the lowest level of information that gets extracted from your ERP system. So the actual invoice with the actual line number, the actual product quantity, etc., that's on that invoice, we put in this table. So this just allows for troubleshooting, where if you are looking at something specific, you've got the ability to go and query that information within your ERP environment. What we've done here is just to demonstrate that a table size can be limited. So this one, we said that the table will only display if the list within this table is less than 2,000 transactions. So this is just an example because it's not a very large data set, but we've got customer environments where there's 20 or 30 million rows worth of data, and you don't necessarily want a table of that size to be displayed to a user, because they can easily drop that into Excel and remove that data. So you've got the ability to limit this. And if I make a selection, you'll see that the current count is 8,933. And I'm pretty sure if I just select 2022, it will drop below 2,000. And there's my table. So as you can see, we've got the calendar date, the actual posting date, the document type. This is supposed to give you the actual document type, so whether it's a sales invoice or a credit note, but it's actually giving us the object type. So but that can be flicked around. The user who posted the document number, customer or supplier code, the description, product, the name, and then we've got obviously quantity, the value, GP percentage, etc. So that lower level detail information is available here. So just to demonstrate this, if I jump straight back into product sales analysis, if I want to investigate JB printers and I want to look at that product over there, and just to make sure I'm looking only at June. So all of my selections, like I mentioned before, gets recorded here at the top. When I switch sheets, those selections will remain. So if I just page to the next one, I can look at the customers that was involved with this purchase. So you'll see the year 22, the month of June for that product, for that item group. If I just now jump to the transaction details, you'll see the actual invoice that was posted. So there we've got the document type, the person who posted that document, the document number, and all of the measures available. So if I need to query that, I've got that document number now, and I can go to my debtors clerk and find out what exactly happened. All right, so that concludes the demonstration of the template application. So as mentioned before, this application is available out of the box. There is no requirement for any configuration. Obviously, there's in every single environment, there's customized, properties against a customer or a product or anything in the environment that is customized to suit your specific needs that can be added. What we do is we try to bring in everything that's vanilla out of the box from a Sage 300 perspective and allowing you to start with that very quickly. As mentioned before, we deploy this within a week. That's including user navigational training of actually using Qlik, and then you can make as many changes as you want to fit your specific environment. All right, so I'll just jump back into the presentation. There is a few other things that we'll show you. The next section, so we've looked at the analytics side of it now. So now the actions. So the actions allows you to generate things like alerts and what we call application automation. There's a lot of automation functionality that's available on the Qlik platform. Things like notifying the team in Microsoft Teams that, a document was posted with a higher than 15% discount, for example, or forecasting, sales value for the rest of the year doesn't meet your target or the budget, for example. All of that can be automated based on parameters and calculations. And if I just jump back into that again, just to give you an example. So there's quite a number of interactive and collaboration functionality. So we've got these note sections. So I've got the ability to make a note on a specific chart. So if I just right click on this and I go to notes, I can create a note with a snapshot. So what that does, it actually takes a little snapshot of the chart as it is in your selections. So if I had, for example, let's just go back and just want to clear that. Let's select 2022 and components. If I right click on that again and create a new note, you'll see that it's taken the snapshot with this and saved it like that. I can now tag anyone. So if I tag myself, but I can tag anyone in my organization that's got access to the application and say, please investigate, and I can send that through. What I also can do is if there's specific KPIs that I want to monitor on a daily basis or whenever, I can do so with the following. So this year to date, this year versus last year, if I just right click on that, I can say monitor in Hub. So what that does, it just takes a little preview of that and saves it to my hub. So my important KPI, and I can click monitor. So now if I go back to my home page, I'll just open up a new sheet. You'll see that I've got this my important KPI now under the my charts section or your charts section, and this will update. So that 12.33, then the moment that the data updates within the application, this will update as well. So you'll see there it also tells you that this was updated a few seconds ago. But if you look at the previous example that I've got here, this was updated September 15. So it gives you the date that it was updated, but when your main application updates, this automatic updates as well. And from here, obviously, you can view it if you want to, just opening up that KPI in one big screen, which will quickly load it for me. But if I want to actually jump into the app, I can just click on view in app and it will take me straight to the application where that KPI snapshot was taken or where I selected, and you'll see it's now highlighted in a blue block. All right. So just to give you another example, if I right click on this object here in the middle, you'll see that my sales this month versus last month sitting at 89%. If I want to get notified when it hits 100%, for example, I can right click on that. And I can create an alert. So this new alert I can define based on specific calculations and measures. So this one, you'll see this is the expression. So this month divided by last month. So it just gives me a percentage calculation. And you don't necessarily need to know how to write these expressions. So those get saved within the environment. And you'll see there's a number of them. If I look at my master measures, all of these get saved within the environment, so you don't need to be able to write them from scratch. But if I just look at sales this month, for example, I can configure this and I can compare measures with each other, and then I can get notified. So this is the preview of what I will be sent. So sales this month versus last month, 89%, and then the value. But I can change this and I can set conditions. So if I go to the conditions, I can say if this is larger than that, or if this happened, I can get alerted. And this alert can be sent to via email and without me having to do anything. And I can also change it to send on a specific schedule. So when it occurs, or every time the application refreshes, or once a day, or once every hour, etc. And then finally, you've got the ability to subscribe to different sheets or objects. So I can subscribe to an individual object, which in this case, if I just subscribe to this over here, I can request this in PDF or in PowerPoint format, and this can then be sent to my email either daily, weekly, monthly at a specific time. I can include users to also receive a copy of that, and once I hit that subscribe button, I will receive an email at that specific time slot with this object in the PDF document. But what you can also do is you can subscribe to this entire sheet. So if you just want to get this entire dashboard in a PDF, you can get that as well. And just to give you an idea of what that looks like, I can actually download that PDF. So I can say download sheet as PDF. And just to give you an example of what that looks like, I will do that. And while it's generating this PDF, I'll click download and open that PDF. So there we go. So you can receive this daily in your inbox as well. And when you make specific selections, for example, if I look at components, if I subscribe to this sheet now, my download in PDF will always have that selection applied before it takes the snapshot and sends it to me via email. So it actually assumes the selections that you've made. All right, then just to quickly show you on bookmarks. So obviously bookmarks, everyone knows what a bookmark is, but if I want to create a specific bookmark for myself, let's say, for example, I'm the sales manager and I'm looking after these salespeople and specific product categories. So you'll see there's my selections. If I wanted to create a bookmark, I can just click on that, create the new bookmark. I can save the sheet location. So in other words, when I click on this bookmark, it brings me straight into the sheet. I can save the layout. In other words, if I changed anything in terms of the layout, and I can save the variable state. So variables we don't use in this template environment. So, but there's additional functionality that allows you to save variables with your bookmark. So once I create that, I can give it a name and save it. So the next time I open that bookmark, so just to give you an example, if I just go to transaction details, I'm clearing my selections. If I click on my bookmark, it takes me back to the dashboard and it applies my selections that I've made at that specific point in time. So I can always come back to the same screen if that's something I use quite often. All right, and then last but not least, I want to show you the storytelling. So storytelling is basically allowing the users to put presentations together. So if I right click on any of the objects within my environment or in my app, I've got the storytelling snapshots and I can take a snapshot. So I can just say sales by year and save it. If I want to take one of those, I can say take the snapshot, and that is GP this month. Again, I can make specific selections and look at specific users and information, and then I can take another snapshot. And this is sales for James Chan 2022 and save. So if I go to my storytelling section over here, I'll create a new story and give it a name. So now I can add different slides. So this is the first slide. I can either add an entire sheet. So I've got the sheet library. So if I just wanted to plot that dashboard onto my sheet, I can do that as well. Or if I want to add those snapshots, you'll see this is my snapshot library. So I've got my snapshots and I can drag them onto my sheets here. And I can rename them, resize them, etc. I can add text. Etc. So now I can play my story. The nice thing about this, obviously, when you've got a presentation coming up, whether you're a salesperson or a financial person or anyone, you've got the ability to put this presentation together and everything is still interactive. So I've got my salesperson. You'll see if I hover with my mouse, it shows me the 285. You'll see at the bottom here, 2007, I've got 2 million. If I hover over there, everything is still interactive. If I want to go into the detail, I've got the ability to right click and go to source. That'll jump straight back into the app at that specific point in time where I took the snapshot. It will apply my selections if I had any, and I can go and investigate and look a little bit at what happened. And once I'm done, I can just jump back into my story. And then I can switch between the presentation pages. So this one is the actual dashboard. So you can see this dashboard we took with James Chan as the selection, and the dashboard was saved as is. And I can actually jump to the sheet as well. So if I wanted to do any further investigation, I can do that as well. All right, and that concludes the demonstration. I'll just jump back in. So just to run through this again very quickly. So Qlik allows you to take your data from A to Z. So we've got the data being freed from your source system. So whether it's your Sage 300 ERP system or your CRM environment or wherever the sales information comes from, then we've got the ability to catalog it. We catalog the data, we build analytics applications, and then finally we can action and collaborate and do things with that data. All right, the next one, this is just an overview of some of our Qlik customers. And then this is quite an interesting slide. So this, to give you an idea of where Qlik sits within the market. So if you just take a second to think about this. So 10 of the top 10 largest global manufacturing companies actually use Qlik. 10 of the 10 largest global pharmaceutical companies use Qlik. And then 5 of the 5 largest global communication companies use Qlik. So these are some pretty impressive stats. So Qlik is a very amazing product. And this is the offer that we've got for the Qlik for Sage 300 starter pack. So as mentioned before, we've got get you up and running within 1 week, and you'll see that there's a 20% discount that that we have for this specific promotion. If you've got any questions, you're welcome to send an email to info@marketchannel.com or visit our website and have a chat with one of our salespeople on the website as well.